Hello, welcome to another video with me, Peter Rising. It's great to see you with us again. If it's your first time visiting the channel, please do me an enormous favor and hit that subscribe button down below there. Click the notifications bell as you do so. It really helps me so much. Right, on to today's video, and I want to talk all about one of my very favorite subjects in Microsoft Purview, which is eDiscovery, specifically eDiscovery Premium. However, with a bit of a twist, we're going to look at eDiscovery Standard as well in the context of searching for and exporting OneDrive content. A customer came to me with a particular request or a requirement of exporting OneDrive content and was having some struggles with the eDiscovery Standard experience. That experience is quite limited in my experience, and Premium will do so much more for you. But quite often it can be very daunting to understand the complexities of eDiscovery Premium, but it's nothing you should be scared of. It's really not as daunting as you think. So I'm going to do two run-throughs of the process in eDiscovery Standard and then the same thing again in eDiscovery Premium in order to identify two separate sets of on-hold OneDrive content for two users and see how the functionality compares. It's coming right up. So just as a reminder, for all things eDiscovery, whether standard or premium, we need to be in the Microsoft Purview portal. This is at compliance.microsoft.com. There is the newer preview portal, which I've covered in some videos. I'm not ready to use that yet. I'm going to stick with what I know. Let's scroll down and find our eDiscovery. And as you can see here, I've already got it expanded. We've got standard eDiscovery. We've got premium eDiscovery. I'm first going to click on standard, and I'm going to create a new case and put a couple of OneDrive locations on hold and then see what our export options look like. So let's get started. This is all very unfamiliar to me. I've not really played in standard eDiscovery for such a long time because it's quite honestly far inferior than the premium product. But equally it's more simple, so it's easy to see why people might be more drawn to this one if you're not familiar with the premium offering. So let's go to create a case. First and foremost, we need to create a case. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a title of OneDrive exports just to make it appropriate to what I'm trying to do here. Let's go to save, and there we go, that's there. And let's go into our case. And before we do any searches, I'm going to go in and I'm going to put some content on hold. So if we go into hold, what we're going to do is going to go and create a hold to preserve the content. So I'm going to do two separate holds. I'm going to start with myself, and I don't have to call myself Peter Rising MVP, but let's just take the MVP bit out, and that will do nicely. In the real world, you would put descriptions in, obviously, but in this instance, I'm not going to. All right, so next, the location I want to put on hold is a OneDrive site, and this comes under the SharePoint sites area, and I have to go in and choose the site. And what I am going to do is, let me just see if I have this in the list already, because I did try this previously, but no, it's not there. It's not remembered. So I'm going to have to go and grab that OneDrive URL. So in case you don't know how to get your OneDrive URL, you can go to office.com and then click on OneDrive, as I have done here, and you need to select a portion of the URL. We need to go up to here where it's got the Peter Rising, the tenant name _com basically. So that's all you need. You don't need anything after that. All right, so now we need to paste that in to the search box, and we'll hit on enter, and there we go. We've got it ready to select, and we can click on done. Okay, so the next step that is required, and I actually did this already, but neglected to start recording, which is lovely. So I'll just recreate what I did in the next step. I went to New Search, and let's just call this OD2 just to demonstrate what I actually did. I went in and I selected Locations on Hold. I unticked the Add App Content for on-premises users, and I selected Next. Under the KQL keywords, I didn't put anything in because I want to return the results of everything in the OneDrive, and I clicked Submit. The other point to mention as well is that I repeated the process in the holds. So I've now got 2 holds for that search, and I have one for the user Peter Rising, which you saw, and I did another one exactly the same way for Stella Gibson. So I've got 2 different searches, or holds rather, that can be applied to the search. So that got us to this point here where I had my search committed and running, and it completed. It didn't take long to complete. And if we go into it, what I then was able to do was I went into Actions and Export Results. Now what that does, and it's warning me here that my previous search results will be unavailable after I run this action, so I won't do this again. I basically accepted most of the defaults in here for OneDrive exports. The output options, I went with the default. The Exchange content is not relevant because this is OneDrive only. And I selected export files in a compressed format. And then I clicked on export. So that brings us up to date. So let's go now to our exports and see what we have got. So if I click onto here, we can see that that has been completed. It took a little while to complete. I had to refresh this a few times, and it's ready for us to download the results. So if I click on download the results, I am getting this wonderful now this is ringing a bell with me now. Actually, I was getting a little bit confused as to why this was exporting in a different format than I expected. It's asking for an application. That is because with eDiscovery Standard, I seem to recall there is an additional step where you need an application running on Windows only, and you'll see I'm on Mac here, where you need this export key. You put that in and then it will export and get all those results for you. So I'm missing that step, so I can't take that particular demo any further. So there you go. So that's eDiscovery Standard, and perhaps not as bad as I remembered it to be. They may have made some improvements to that over the years since I last used it. But if you have eDiscovery Premium, you absolutely should be using it because it is so superior in every way. It might seem daunting to begin with, but I'm going to go through the exact same steps now and create the same case to put 2 OneDrive locations on hold and then try and export the content. So before we get into that, there's an important step that we need to do. Within roles and scopes in Purview, we need to go into permissions, and under Purview Solutions roles, we need to ensure that you are set to be either an eDiscovery manager or an eDiscovery administrator. You'll notice when I click on that role here, the flyout panel appears, and you will see that there are 2 roles built into that one manager role. There are eDiscovery managers who can manage their own cases and view their own cases, and we can see Rachel and Monica set up there as eDiscovery managers. And then there are eDiscovery administrators, such as myself here, who can see every case regardless of who set it up. So that's an important step. We need to make sure that is done. Okay. Now we can switch into eDiscovery Premium and we can create a case. So if we go into cases, we can see all the cases listed that I've already created. There's one here called OneDrive, which I created earlier. That has the results of the kind of case we're about to create here together. So if we click on create a case and we give that a name, I'm just going to call this OneDrive OD, for lack of a better description. I'd obviously give it a way better name. Description, obviously put that in as well. And you can optionally enter a numeric identifier or a docket number if you have such a system. The new case format is now the only one you can choose. Click on Next. You can then add any members to your eDiscovery case who you want to give additional access to the case to. That's by users or group. You have some search and analytics features that you can configure to set duplicates and link email threads, so set some thresholds, word counts, etc. You can group items by theme, create a saved query whenever analytics is performed. You can ignore text by actual text or regular expression and apply to certain modules, and you can configure optical character recognition as well. Click on Next, review your case, and submit. And the case will be created ready for you to configure. Click on Done, and you're taken straight into the case. Let's just collapse that side panel to get more screen space. So this is it, we're on our new case now. So the first thing we want to do in the case is we need to go to data sources. Now the reason I showed you how to add the permissions for eDiscovery Manager or Administrator is that had you not done so, you in all likelihood would not see this tab. So the data sources is our first port of call. What we need to do here is we need to add what are called custodial data sources, which basically amount to being users. So if we click on the drop down here or there, doesn't matter which, you can add new custodians or you can import custodians. You can also add other data locations, but for the purposes of this, we are going to add custodians. So we need to identify new custodians from your organization's Active Directory. Let's type in the same individuals that we used on the eDiscovery standard case. So we are going to select Stella Gibson. We are also going to select my good self, Peter Rising. There we go. And you can see here what is going to be included in each custodian. Mailboxes, OneDrives, Exchange, SharePoint, etc., etc. So we click Next, and then we click on Submit, and we should then be good to go. And indeed, there we are. New custodians are created. Excellent. Fantastic indeed. So we've got Peter, we've got Stella. We can see that the status is indexing and it's applying a hold. Let's just collapse this screen again for more space. The next thing we need to do is go to collections. And what we need to do now is create a new collection. Now remember, a collection is the same sort of principle as a search in eDiscovery Standard. Let's go ahead and give this collection a name. We'll just call this OneDrive exports. Again, let's go next. We can either select all custodians here with the toggle switch, or we can go in and select whichever ones we want individually. So we can see both of the ones we want there for Stella and Peter. What we want to do is select OneDrive only. We don't want the mailboxes, so we can change that like so. We'll go next. We don't have any non-custodial data sources that we want to add at this time, so we can skip that. We don't have any additional locations that we want to add either, so we can also skip that. Click on Next. Again, we could put in a query filter here, a KQL query, to narrow down the results of our search. I don't want to do that in this occasion because I want to return all results. So I'll go for Next, and then we have a review of the collection and we can go ahead and create it. So by clicking on Submit, that's going to commit our collection, and that should complete in a moment or so. Okay, so the collection will take as long as it needs to complete. So we can see the status is estimated here. We can see the preview status is successful. So if we go into the collection now, we get some summaries and statistics. We can see the data sources that have been included, which we can see are correct. We can see the search statistics, collection options, and so on and so forth. So what we can do at this step is we can go ahead and commit the collection. And what that does is it commits it to the next step in the chain, which is a review set. So under actions, we can actually see some other options. We can edit the collection, we can refresh the estimates, we can copy the collection. But what we want to do here is we want to crack on with it. We want to commit that collection to a review set. So let's give our review set a name. Let's call it OneDrive again. Or we could actually add it to an existing review set here if we wanted to. Let's do that with Microsoft standards because that's just bothering me. So we have some retrieval options here. We can identify additional items to collect. We can include, if relevant, things like Teams and Yammer conversations. We can include cloud attachments, all document versions, and partially indexed items as well. And we can commit that to a review set, and it will start chugging away and add to the review set, and when it's done it will say successful. So now we move into the review sets tab along the top, and we can see our review set is here. So we can click onto the review set. We can get again some statistics regarding our review set, but what we want to do is open it. So we click on open review set and it takes us right into that review set. Okay, so here we go. And what we can see here is all of our results. And we've got 5 pages of results here with 50 items per page. And we can get a preview of what these things are. So we can highlight each one and get some preview content here in plain text, and we can annotate and do all that sort of thing. But what we're really interested in here is the exporting capabilities. So what we can do at this point is we can filter based on the criteria that we need. We can see the sender author in this case is Peter Rising, so we know we should have some options for Stella Gibson in there as well. So what we can do is we can go in and filter based on that criteria. So let's go ahead and take a look at our filtering options. So we select by author and select an operator equals any of, and let's choose from all of these. So let's select Stella, for example, and there we go. It should refresh with all the content that is relevant to Stella. And not so much in Stella's OneDrive. There was not so much content in there, so that's absolutely fine. We can highlight that content, and what we can do at this point is we can do an export. So if we go into the actions drop down here, we can export that content and give it a name. So we'll call that one Stella, and we can put in a description. We can do it by selected documents only, which is what we've already got. We can do it for all filtered documents, which is what we already had. Or we could change to all documents in the review set. To expand the selection, we could do family groups and conversation groups if that were relevant to things like Teams and Yammer conversations. What we can do here as well is we can choose a condensed directory structure, which is what we want. And we can include tags, text files, and replace redacted natives with converted PDFs. But basically, this is going to do exactly what we want. So we can go ahead and we can export that. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a job. So let's OK that one. And we could do the same for Peter. So we could actually change this filter here, and we could filter that to Peter Rising and apply that filter and do exactly the same thing and export that content to its own output as well. So with that being done, let's go back to cases and have a look. Not cases, actually. We actually needed to be in the case. And we need now to go to the Jobs tab, and we should be able to see our job preparing for export. So that is in progress now, that export job. We just need to wait for that to complete. And then we should see it available for download in our Exports tab. So after a short time, the export was marked as successful. So now we can go into Exports and see what we have available to us. And there we go. The top of the list is the one we've just done, Stella, OneDrive. We can click onto it, and we have an option to select all of the available items there. We have a summary and we have a compressed folder of the contents. We can click to download that and it will download for us to our chosen location. We can then open up that file and we can double click, open up the file. In the native files, we can get all of our files relevant to that export. So there you go. I think that is very powerful and shows that eDiscovery Premium is really the product to go for. If you have it, use it. Don't use Standard when you have Premium. Premium all the way, and it has so many great additional features which we've not even covered in this video, but you can check out my previous eDiscovery Premium videos to look at some of the additional features like communications and so much more. You can be sure that I've covered it in the other videos that we've done on the subject. Right, let's wind up the video. As always, thank you for your support. If you've enjoyed the video, give me a massive thumbs up. It's massively appreciated when you do. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. You have that right. It's a free world, I think. But there you go, I digress. And hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications bell, and you might want to consider becoming a member. Also, there's the join button, which shows you how you can and what you get, the various perks and different membership levels. As always, you take care. Let me know what you think. Leave me all your feedback and comments, and I will talk to you very, very soon on another video. Bye now.